Hi, this is Lee with Alison from the Law School Toolbox and the Bar Exam Toolbox. Today we are sharing a top tip for passing the bar exam. Our next tip for bar exam success is organize your life and have a day of plan. So it's like a two-part tip, but it's an important one.
I'd say this is kind of the executive functioning piece of the test. And so many people really struggle. And some of this is out of your control. I mean, things happen. We're recording this after the fires in LA. We know people whose houses burned down and they're supposed to be studying for the bar. That is out of your control. However, there are other things that are within your control. And so some of this is about timing. Is this really the best time for you to be studying for, preparing for, taking this exam? And if the answer to that is no, then, there's another time for it.
Yeah. And I think that's such an important question. We have talked to so many people who failed. And when you start really asking them what happened, some things, can be tragedies, right? They lost a family member or somebody got critically ill. But there's a lot of stuff that we hear that's like, well, I moved, I got married, I went on a 2-week vacation. Like those aren't like you can plan around all those things. I'm not saying you should move your wedding. If you want to get married, like go forth. But maybe don't also study for the bar while you're getting married. That might not be like the best use of your time. If you're a foreign trained attorney and you're working full time and you have mountains of law to learn because you didn't go to a US law school, like you're not going to have enough hours. You need to like plan your life to allow yourself a longer time to study. I also think that resources are really important to look at. If you need additional help, if you need a tutor, if you need a different bar provider, whatever it might be, sometimes it's great to take a break and make money and then then come back and, feel like you're in a better financial situation. We've seen all sorts of success with people like developing plans and executing them. I think where we see it fall apart is when there's no plan and then life just kind of like comes at you and you're getting kind of ping-ponged around by it. If those things are in your control, you definitely want to do something to avoid that reality.
Yeah, or their plan is I'm going to work full time and then study 5 hours a night every night plus all weekend. And it's like, okay, that's not realistic. No one can do that.
No.
I mean, if that's really your plan, that is not a good plan.
Diminishing returns. I was listening to a Huberman podcast. I'm not like a huge Huberman, because they're like 2 hours and plus. Anyway, he does have some good guests on there, but somebody did send me one of his podcasts. And then I was listening to another one because it started, going through and then I'm in the car and I can't change the podcast. You know how it goes.
But they're banking on.
I know. But he was talking about his schedule of how because he's kind of a life, biohacker, life hack type person. But he was talking about his own schedule and how he only believes he can work so many hours a day. And he was talking about how like 90 minutes in the morning is his most like productive time. And then he has like this like time that's creative time and time where he can do more mundane tasks. But even he was talking about how he maxes out on the number of hours that he can work. And this is somebody who like, this is his whole deal.
His whole jam is like working.
Is like optimizing life in all ways. Not to say that he hasn't figured out, but that's what he's focused on is optimization, right? And so he was talking about learning and being efficient and doing different kinds of work. And it did make me think about people studying for the bar because so often we try and have this conversation of how many hours can you really do this? What is the best time of day for you to memorize information versus do practice? And oftentimes for most people, it's not 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
But a lot of people like to think it's 10 o'clock at night. And there are very few people, few and far between, for whom they're going to do their best learning late at night. And so you really have to create a schedule that's going to give you returns on the time investment, or you're just like on the fast train to burnout.
Yeah, exactly. And in addition, to setting up that schedule, you also got to make sure everything day of is ready to go, because that's always really disappointing for people. And when we hear these stories about something going wrong on the day of, oops, you forgot to book your hotel room, or it was far away, or, whatever it is, your laptop failed, you didn't know how to get to the testing center, you were late to the test. I mean, there are all these things that happen. Like we've heard a ton of different things.
Yeah.
And you just don't that to happen to you. Like, you've worked hard for this. Just go ahead and like close that loop on the last little bit of it and make sure you show up early with everything you need. You've read the rules. I mean, if you're in California now, there are all these new rules about things. You want to make sure that you are going to be compliant because the bar does not give people a lot of leeway.
No, there are too many people, and it's just, they have to be too rigid, right
Yeah.
or wrong. If you need something special, you must apply for accommodations for it. That is just, even if you're not sure it's a special accommodations, you need to apply for it. And this includes, a special, like if your jurisdiction has rules about like, a pillow that you could bring for your back, or a type of keyboard, or a mouse, or like
Yeah.
all sorts of things. You need to read those rules and go to the bar and say, if you need one of these things, it's a special accommodation. You don't want to show up on test day with your ergonomic keyboard and have them, one, even threaten to give you some sort of ethical violation, which nobody wants, or two, just create drama when everybody's so like already
On
so
edge.
charged and on edge and like all of that stuff. And I was thinking about like the traffic and things like that. I mean, there was just another fire off of I-5 yesterday, and they just closed I-5.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you could be somewhere where they could just close a freeway. I mean,
Yeah.
things
No,
happen.
I think you want to make sure that you've like minimized as many possible problems as you can.
Yes. Well, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a like and leave us a comment if you have any questions about anything. And stay tuned for more bar exam tips.